y'all? Where's my chat? I just saw it a second ago. Okay, I'm just checking to make sure everything's working. It is good. Get all distracted over here. There was a chat window somewhere. There it is. Hey, Nick, what's up? I wish there was a way. There's got to be a way for me to be able to see who is here, but participants doesn't show me anything. Okay, whatever. Anyway, hello everyone who's here, or if not, there might not be anybody here. I can't see what's happening, and that's fine. Welcome to the live. Yeah. I do this when I run out of, I try to release a video right now on Sundays and on Thursdays or sometime during the week, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. I don't like waiting. So like basically when it's done, I like to just upload it, which is probably not the best way to deal with the algorithm, but that is what it is. But this week it's like the stuff on my plate, just like the taxes and hey Dakota. Hey DC. Anyway, I'm doing my taxes this week, and I'm working on some guitars. We got some new stuff happening, and awesome, Joe. And so it's like, all right, well, sometimes I'm gonna go live, and that'll be the deal. And I think I can give you guys a lot for this, but they don't often do as well as the vid. It's a whole thing. It's like, how do I get this thing to grow, and then also provide the stuff that I want to provide, which is, you never know if that's the thing that I'm doing, but like I'm trying to like stay inspired and stay involved. It's going to have to be that way no matter what, whether this thing manages to take off or not. If I'm not inspired, then it's not going to happen. So anyway, I'm here and I'm stoked. I'm playing today. Check this out. So this guitar's up for sale, by the way. But it's roasted Eastern white pine with a roasted maple, a 2-piece roasted maple neck, and it has these Arcane P90s in it. And I'm going through the Darko's Plexi and then through a Greer Lightspeed right now. And it just it just sounds awesome. Hey everybody, Girl Drink Drunk, Michael, Tonsta, Florida, from Little Rock. Oh yeah, man, I haven't been to Arkansas in a long time. I was on a tour and I got robbed in Fort Worth, and then I had like 2 more weeks on the road, and I just bought my car, so I had no license plates, I had no registration or anything yet, and then my wallet got stolen, so I didn't have any ID or any credit cards, and I just had cash. And I'll pull the middle pickup up right now, and it was like I was driving around, and the first place I had to go was Arkansas. Dude, it was traumatic. I couldn't check into hotels. It was an awful trip. That was the last year I was touring. Okay, middle pickup, Nick, on this. Check it out. Okay, so we gotta have context, right? Like without any context at all. Okay, one of the things that's cool. I'm gonna go to middle pickup here in a second. I need water. I'm already amped up. We're just starting. So, one thing that's cool and crazy. So I have in the booth right now. So inside this here, I have speaker cabs, and right now I have 2. I have a Bad Cat 1x12 and a Satellite 1x12, and the Bad Cat 1x12 sounds so much beefier in this room than the Satellite. Now, obviously, the way I mic it and all that stuff, I can make up for it. But like, it's a crazy thing, just the different cab, let alone where the mics are positioned, and then which amp you're using, etc. Like, so there's so many things that like you got to have a baseline for how does this sound versus other stuff, right? So here's our neck pickup. Here's our bridge pickup. Okay, and then here's our middle pickup. So that's a really great sound, but the sound that you don't hear a lot is the in-between position, which that's a killer sound. Like that's awesome. You know what I mean? So anyway, but yeah, that middle pickup. What's in there? Something's in the slot. Oh, whatever. I don't think I have enough delay on. Oh my god. So yeah. So guys, by the way, hit me with questions, or I can always just talk. I got a million things to talk about. I've been arguing with people on social media, so I'm all fired up. I don't know what I'm doing. That's the stupidest thing. Okay, that's better. It's so much. I don't understand why that's. So I'm using a Universal Audio Cooper Time Cube, and I just don't understand. Oh, I know what's going on. I was trying to figure out why I had so much delay, and it's because I have multiple delays from multiple things going on. This is part of my audio system setup is so it's so like convoluted. Convoluted is the wrong word. It's very gnarly. There's a lot going on. So okay, good. Now we can get our delay times. There's a little bit there, I guess. Let's see. I'm seeing it. Huh. Okay. Well, whatever. We have enough stuff going on that it sounds nice. Huh. All right. Anyway, give me some questions as we sit here and try to figure out sound. This is riveting television. You know what else too, by the way, so I'm building another one right now that's gonna have the same finish, but I'm gonna put the pickups that I originally had chosen to go in here in that one, which is a butternut guitar. And so butternut is kind of the opposite of Eastern white pine. Lots of low end, not particularly bright. And this was a bright guitar that didn't have a ton of body, and so when I put those pickups in it, it felt a little thin. Going to the P90s was like, oh, this is magic now, because the P90s don't have a hey, I'm Bradford. Listen, I'm Bradford, okay? Let's get one thing clear. You're also Bradford. Yeah, just the right pickups for the right guitar. Oh my god, I don't like this guitar. Well, finding the right engine to drive it. It's too dark, well then I should get something brighter. It's too bright, I should get something darker. It doesn't feel like it has enough body, or whatever. All those things are like they're I keep finding over and over and over and over again that the right pickups for the right instrument, multiple pickups in an instrument to try to figure out what fits perfectly is really where it's at for me personally. So you guys, you're all here, which is awesome. What should we talk about? I have been watching. There's this content on Musora of so it's Musora. I could probably link it. I don't know how to do it. Whatever. We're gonna not get distracted. But it's a bunch of companies, or not companies. It's a bunch of bands covering famous songs in their style. And there was like a kind of like a indie folk band that was doing a Limp Bizkit song. It was so great when they were listening to it. They were like, "This is a terrible song," which for whatever they were doing, I can see how they would. I mean, I grew up on Limp Bizkit. I don't run to the Limp Bizkit record collection first anymore. But it's fun watching bands take songs and then make them their own. And it's one of the things we talk about in the lessons, right? Like learning the bones of the song. And then once you have the bones, whether those main riffs, those chords, whatever, you can then make it your own. And it's super fun to watch that stuff go down live. So there was that one. There was a blues rock. I see they say blues rock. I don't think that was accurate, but there was a band doing a Vanessa Carlton song. There was a funk band doing a Alice in Chains song, which was awesome. Watching these guys really figure this stuff out, especially like the really well-schooled musicians who can really just talk about stuff, and they're just like watching how quickly they can pick things up. I can pick certain things up pretty quick, and then other stuff, I can't. The guys doing the Alice in Chains song, like they picked up that riff so fast, and they all had it, and they didn't even look at the music or the charts. They were just like, okay, so what do you guys want to do? Do you want to do this? And they all had it already, which is, that level of musicianship I often find intimidating. And it's like, all right, well, no one's trying to intimidate you. It just is what it is. But I can, being around guys who can do things that I can't, I always find intimidating, which is a really funny thing. Because if you end up talking to them, most people are not competitive like that. And most people, at least most musicians that I know that I want to be around, are trying to lift people up. And I've been in a couple of musician settings. I'm going to get to that in a second, the round bar thing. I've been in a couple settings where it felt competitive and it felt like I had to fight for space. And I'm not going to put myself in those settings. I want to be around people musically who make me better. One of my favorite things, it said, if you're the worst musician in the room, what is your job on the... Somebody posted something like that. Like if you're the worst musician in the room, what's your job? I think every musician's job in the room, if you're all together, is to make everybody else sound better. To play as a team, right? Okay, do I use a round bar when playing lap steel? I have some round bars. There's like a little piece of paper or something on the edge of this P90 that's driving me nuts. Trying not to pull my headphones out. So I have round bars. I have a hard time holding on to them. I mean, you can play, certainly. I can play with it. It's not, it definitely, I'm fighting to hold on to it. Thanks, Joe. Have a great day, bro. When I have a bar like this that has, this is it's a Steven style bar. This happens to be the Beard 2010 Chrome. And I think you can see this on the camera. I've worn through the chrome plating on the side where my thumb goes. The way I can hold on to this, I'm trying to think if I have a metal round bar anywhere. I have one somewhere. I have a couple metal round bars, but they're not they're not as comfy for me to hold on to. And I think that for certain styles of playing lap steel, there are more comfortable for other people. You know, I can do slants. You know, people talk about slants being hard on longer scales. This is a 25.5-inch scale. Right, I can. So pitched it across the room. Yeah, well, and the pedal steel players will use them all the time because it's such a different style. Although, like, Robert Randolph has a Steven style pedal steel bar. You know, I think one of the things, I have a pedal steel, it stays in the case. You know, I learned lap steel. I was pretty self-taught. I developed my own style. If you didn't know that, welcome. And you know, that's kind of why we're here, I guess. I hope. But I think, you know, when I got pedal steel, I was trying to learn some more traditional stuff, and it was really hard. And I am a fan of, you know, I think my blocking and my muting is probably not totally textbook, but developing my style for playing fast, developing my style for muting has led to my own sound. And sometimes that can be frustrating when, you know, especially when people hire me and they don't, you know, I try to say to people when they're hiring me to play on a song, listen, I play like me. You're not getting you're not going to get a lap steel player when you get me. You're getting me. And that can be good and bad. You know what I mean? I got some cool stuff. I started playing on this record for this guy that some people will have heard of, which is super cool and super exciting, and the music's really cool. So, and he wanted me, which is exciting. And so we'll see, you know, how, if that comes out and when, and you never know when you play on something, what gets used and what doesn't. But yeah, I've been in situations where people want me, and that's good. And I've got situations where people want a lap steel player, and that's bad. And then there's also times where, you know, people are like, I want you to shred on this, and it's like, that's not a shredding song. Or they're like, I want just something really melodic, and it's like, well, you're playing one chord. There's not like a ton of melody there. Like, it's, you know, we have to like work with within the context of what's there. But, you know, it is what it is. Look at this. I love this. Look at all these questions. Okay, hold on. Hi, guys. I see you all, by the way. Sorry, I'm yelling into the microphone now. Beginner who started on Open G and decided to try Open D because I hear it is more for rock blues, but I've never heard anyone discuss why it is so. Okay, so Dakota, that's a great question. Why is Open D the best for rock blues? First of all, I reject anything best or not best, but that being said, Open D has a power chord on the bottom 3 strings. Right? So what does that mean? I want a little more gain. Hold on. Okay. So, look, okay. Is that too quiet? Okay, so Open G, you have 2 sets of GBD, right? Which is great, but it sounds very major, and you have a third, which is the thing that makes it major, right? When you're talking about rock and blues, a lot of times we're playing a lot of power chords, a lot of dominant chords, a lot of chords that are not going to be defining major and minor. So now, in Open D, my bottom 3 strings my bottom 3 strings, when tuned appropriately, make a power chord, which means you have that rock thing. If you make the face, it helps. Right? Has all that. And then on top of that, it has that bluesy thing that... Right? Which you can't do just strumming on a open G tuned lap steel. Now you could do like a slide guitar style G, where it would be D G D G B D, and that moves the third up. That makes more sense to me, but yeah, I mean, and that's a really common one. I don't know what Megan in Larkin Poe uses. I know she's in G. I don't know which G tuning she uses, but you can do rock in G. It's just the D E thing, E or D, is a much more common lap steel tuning for rock. And you know, again, having the root on the low string and then having a power chord gives you a lot of that. Right? It gives you a lot of the power to do a lot of the stuff that's already out there. Does that make sense? Tell me if that makes sense. If you got and like, there's a million other tunings. And I like, there's an open C tuning that's like C G C G C E. One of the things that's happened for me is I got into a tuning and then I just stuck with that tuning because I've been kind of working on that tuning. I know the tuning, and I don't really want to mess with it. Other people do other stuff, and there's a lot of great instruction out there on a lot of different tunings. I am certainly not here to say this is the right way, but it's the way that made the most sense to me when I started, especially having, because I tried Dobro G. I need to clip this up here. It's pulling on me. I tried Dobro G, and I've tried other tunings, and I just couldn't gel with them. And Open D has always made sense. The other thing is this: Open D is like an E chord on a guitar, right? That's like a standard E chord, but just down at D, right? So if I did it, no, there's no way to do it. If I did it here, that's the same chord. So it starts to make sense, especially if you've looked at some of my beginner lessons. Beginning lesson 1, when I show you where the notes are on the chords, like, I just see the neck that way now. And so, and then I can translate that to numbers really easily. And I just have gotten so used to this that, like, if you gave me another tuning, it's like learning another language. And some people are really good at learning, you know, some people speak 7, 8, 9, 10 languages. And some people can write a lot of riffs in like cool tunings and stuff. I gravitate towards, this is what I know, so this is what I play, and then I continue to try to grow within this tuning. And then I also, to be fair, I have this, and then I also have some baritones that are tuned to open B tuning, which is the same as D, just down a step and a half. And it's like, yeah, I can, and that's how I roll. So that's what I like. But that's an awesome question. Does that make sense, Dakota? I hope it does. Okay, I see it. Yes, you thought, yes. Okay. Hey, Mike, what's up? Michael Willinger, yeah. Yeah, Tonsta. Yeah, it's round bars or something. How do I shape fit my Pro Pick split wrap comfort fits? Do I use some kind of pliers? So yeah, I have used pliers. They all fit a little bit different each set. You can see kind of how, let's see if you can see how far they are out. I have used pliers to kind of round them. I've used dowels sometimes to get them a little bit more round too. But I also, you know, the more you wear them and the more you keep putting them on, the more they're going to I just squeeze them real tight and then put them on too, once I get them kind of where I want them. And you can see, I think, you know, how tight they are on my finger. And at this point, I think all the nerves have died in my fingers is really what it is. Because I can wear these all day and I'm fine. But it was not always that way. And when I first started using them, it was really painful, and then I got used to them. So that's where I got. Yeah. With my magic fingers. Yeah. Call my spouse. Let them know that my fingers are magic. It was inappropriate. Where are we at? Shape fit. Yeah, I mean, it's, Ron, it's definitely a process, and I used to keep a spare pair of like the really little needle nose pliers on my bench, and I have a handful of sets now in various places. I keep them in pill boxes too, in pill cases. So in like pill, like the orange, pill bottles. Because as a former drug addict, I had a lot of those sitting around, and so I have sets that I've shaped and that I've worn. I probably have 5 or 6 sets now in various places, and then I go through thumb picks. I have to replace the thumb picks pretty frequently. But that's just what it is. Do I think the pedal market is overrun? You cannot buy all of them, of course not. But which one to choose? So many small boutique makers, which one to choose? Just a thought. Yeah, Nick, I mean, yes, there's so many pedals. And, somebody asked on Facebook. It was really cool. Somebody posted, like, how do I get a sound like Matt Bradford? Which is like, hey, that's super flattering and cool. I think, at this point, I'm fortunate that I haven't paid for a lot of these. I don't know how to say it. I don't want to sound entitled. I think I bring value to those builders, but I also, like people send me stuff, and that's super flattering. I think it's one of those things. If you really like pedals, then it's fun to do. If you've watched my fuzz face video, for example, those are all fuzz faces, and they all sound like fuzz faces. And some sound slightly different or whatever, but at the end of the day, they all have a similar thing. And I could get by with just an overdrive pedal. I don't need all the stuff. If I was starting from zero, I would probably go digital. But seeing as I have all this stuff, and I do love the way tube amps feel, like I keep playing with getting a digital, like one of those fancy, like a Quad Cortex or a Fractal or a Kemper or something for live, because I'm in in-ears when I play live. The same way I'm in in-ears now, and then the amp goes through a cab, which is then mic'd up and then coming back into my in-ear. So am I really getting a lot out of having an actual amp? I don't know that I am in my use cases, but I like having them. But I think, again, if I was going to go back to the beginning, I would probably go digital with one of the fancy ones. That all being said, man, I mean, yeah, pedals, everyone sounds a little bit different, and there's something really joyous about analog builders, especially the small ones, the boutique guys who are searching out vintage parts or hard to find parts or parts that you're not going to have. So am I on? I need a different. The P90s aren't the best with the fuzz. Hold on. Okay, so this fuzz might not be the most cleaning up fuzz, but the point is. Okay. The way that fuzz cleans up. And this one's not made. This is the, BD? This is the Square Wave Effects Sadist Fuzz. And this is where we're at this point. It's like I have to go scoot over there and look. A lot of the ways that fuzzes interact with a volume knob, with a volume and a tone knob, that you're not going to get from a pedal, from a digital pedal. So in that sense, I think it's amazing. I also think you kind of pick a builder and you stick with it, or you just try some stuff, and you can't get too hung up on which one's the best. It's like they all sound great. Not all, but like if you find a good builder who's doing stuff, especially the point-to-point stuff, the Marcus Reeves stuff, the Espresso, the Seeker, Square Wave is great. I think that one's going on my board actually. I have an Espresso, Fuzz Face, and Octavia, and then I also have a oh god, what's it called? It's the one Ariel Posen uses. Whatever it is, I have those on my board. I'm gonna pull that one, the broadcast, the Hudson broadcast. I'm gonna pull that off, and I'm gonna put this on instead because it just has this punchy, thick, low end thing that I really like, and I can get that kind of punchy stuff. And obviously you're hearing my strings too right now, which drives me nuts, but I don't have a way to gate this, and then you know what I mean. I could built a mute thing, but it would be a lot of work. Anyway, point is that there are a million small builders, and it's so cool that that's all available because it didn't used to be. And if you can't decide, go Analog Man. I mean, he's amazing, and it's going to have resale value. You know what I mean? That's the thing. Does that answer anything? Which one to choose is just like, it's like, I don't know, find the one that inspires you and then get it. And realize that no pedal is going to make you sound like anyone. Like if you gave me a digital amp, when I play through a Roland Micro Cube, which I do sometimes for certain situations, I still sound like me. You know what I mean? You give me a Dobro, I still sound like me. So, the main thing is no matter what pedal you get, you're going to sound like you. So, lean into that. That's what I think. Good evening, Mr. Void Monk. Hello from Italy. I love that this is so international, by the way. You want to talk about something that's oversaturated. How about people on YouTube talking about stuff? This is as oversaturated of a market as there is. And I'm like, yeah, let me try to break into this. But here we are. We're trying it. And it's good. I'm really frustrated I can't hear that delay. Whatever. I think you need to do a lesson on lap steel stank face. Yeah, man. I mean, between good and bad look, there's the line between good and bad looking. Yeah, you're supposed to look bad. That's the idea. When you look at, okay. When I try to play and not make the face, right? Stupid microphone. I'm trying to have the mic in a place where it picks me up, but is not in the way of the instrument. If I try to just play, I can't. I mean, it just doesn't feel. Right, like that's, I don't know. There's an abandon I can play with when I'm making the faces, and I would say make your faces, right? Like that. One of the things is hit the strings. This was something that I used to try to play fast when I was playing guitar, and and so I was trying to play lighter and lighter and lighter, and then just trying to make up with it with more distortion. And obviously, I use plenty of distortion. I'm not saying that like this is like, oh, look how little distortion I use. But if you give me a clean-ish sound, oh my God, sorry. Okay, so this is pretty clean, right? I'm still hitting pretty hard, and you can hear all the notes. So not hiding behind distortion and then playing real light in response to it. If you want to play light because that's the sound you want, right? Great, but I like that hard sound. Right? So because of that, I want to make sure that I have that I'm playing the way I need to, and then I don't know why I got on this tangent, but anyway, whatever. I don't know what started that. I don't understand. Whatever. Anyway, I got out of my the stank face thing. Right. So it's the same thing, right? Like, I'm trying to bring a lot of attitude to it. Like, I want to feel it. I want to be crushing it with the way I'm playing. If I'm playing aggressive music, which I tend to play aggressive, I want to make sure that my sound is aggressive, and my sound comes from aggressive from hitting hard. And so all of that, the face, the way I attack the string, all of that stuff is gonna come. Let me turn the mic off real quick and show you. This is me attacking the string hard and soft with the fuzz. So you can hear, is the mic back on? Okay, good. So you can hear the difference, I think, between when I'm hitting it soft, right, and it's, and when I hit it harder, there's much more percussive element, which you can't hear with the mic on, because now the string is taking over that transient. But the point is that when I hit it hard, the fuzz sounds different, especially with the mic off. Did that translate? I wonder. Yeah, you heard Iron Man? I mean, dude, that's on there. I'm just working my way down. That's where I'm at now. I heard Iron Man. I am not in tune at all right now. Yeah. Yeah, so I mean, does that make sense? Stank face has to translate to the way you're playing too. That's part of the deal. Tune your first string to C sharp. Well, that's a D major 7. But yeah, then your first 3 strings are a minor chord. I like it. I mean, that's a great idea. There's a million ways to tune it. For me, that would then screw up all of my patterns that I've worked so hard to like drill into my brain. This is what somebody, Mr. Void Monk said. Sometimes I use D7. You just have to tune your first string to C sharp, and then the first 3 strings are a minor chord. Tune your first to C sharp. Yeah. So then that would be. Would that be a minor? I don't know. I have to do the math in my head. What's that? F sharp, A, C sharp. Yeah. Yeah, so that would be a minor chord. Yeah, that's a D major 7, by the way. Not a D7. Not to be pedantic. D7 would be to tune it down to C. Now, yeah, and you can see the way the fuzz reacts to this guitar, by the way. This goes back to the digital thing, where I haven't found that on a digital thing. Now, the digital board could live right here by my feet, and I could just go to a clean channel for clean stuff and step on it for a dirty channel for dirty stuff, and that would be super useful. So, weird little aside if you haven't been here for that. Right. For minor chords, though, like really, so okay. Did I just hear something? I don't know what fell over. Doesn't matter. Okay, so here's like a D major, right? If I play this, that's just a F sharp 5. So just the F sharp, the A, sharp, and the F sharp. Is that right? No. F sharp, C sharp, F sharp. I know words. That felt minor. When I play that feels minor. Then my minor third is there. You know, that which is the open A string. So F sharp, A, C sharp. That's the bottom 3 strings on 9, and then the top 2 open strings. That's a minor 7 chord. That's a what's the 6 in it's a B minor 7 chord. Right. The only place you don't have a minor third open is on the 2 chord, and right. That sounds minor. So, I can imply minor chords a lot, and I certainly, I have some videos on that, and I can always do more. Now, you're hearing something. Let me just give you a little guitar luthing tip. There's something rattling. Or not. I thought something was rattling. When you have a bridge like this, like these stop tail bridges, these ABR ones, sometimes if you just go in with a screwdriver and just give each screw like a little like half turn each way, it'll just tighten everything back up on the threads and stop anything from rattling, if it was rattling. Which again, I couldn't find it, so there you have it. But just a little turn each way will kill the rattle, if there is a rattle. So let's see here. Blah blah. Stank face D7. Yes. Okay, good. I'm glad that's right. Damn, that's tight. Okay. Yeah, dude. Yeah, Ron. My finger picks are so tight. And again, my fingers have just gotten used to them. And so when I take them off, you can see where they were when I was wearing them. You can see them for a few hours afterward. It just is what it is. Ooh, good luck. You know, the other thing too, if you're having an allergy to the picks, is you could try coating them with something, you know, spraying the inside with some sort of rubber adhesive, not adhesive, rubber paint or something. And then so they're not touching your skin, just so you know. That would be something to try to do. There will be ways. Okay, question. I bought a Shub SP2. Yes. The tip is way too round. Turn it around. Have you ever tried to reshape the bar? I already bought another one, so ruining this one would not be tragic. So I think the Shub is chrome-plated brass, I think. I have reshaped bars before. And just buffed them out, you know, sanded them down to like 2,000 and then just buffed them out, and they're fine. That being said, the SP2 is also longer than some of the others. I use an SP3. I started with an SP2 and some round tipped bars, and yeah, the round tip is gonna it makes your life harder. So I would just give it to somebody who's starting out. You know what I mean? Is it worth reshaping? I mean, you can reshape it, but like, is it worth it? You know, just buy an SP. I actually don't know what they cost anymore. What a Shub. Yeah, might be worth it. I don't know. I have an Asher. Bill makes a round. He likes the round tips a lot, and so I have an Asher bar that I just keep in the shop now because I can't use those round tips and it's too long. I have a certain length that I like. And I've gotten so used to this beard bar. Live, I use SP3s, Shub SP3s, or Dunlop Lapdogs. I have both, and it just depends on what bag I take out. But because I don't like taking out the fancy bars because I drop them and I ding them, and then I got to replace them, and it's like replacing a $100 bar hurts deep inside. Oh, look who's here! It's the Scaredy Cat. Hi, Scaredy Cat. You coming up? Let's see. Come here, Bubba. Come here. Come up. Say hi to everybody. Come on. No? You gonna sit there? You coming up? Come up. We don't have time to do this. We don't have time to mess around. Um. Oh, now you're stuck. Cool. So, anyway, yeah, see, he's running away. Yeah. So anyway, you can reshape your bar if you want. I would give it to a new person or somebody who's thinking about it or whatever. Right. Bought the wrong size thumb pick and now my thumb turns purple. Yeah. I mean, also try soaking it in some hot water. You know, I buy the thumb picks by the 12 pack. And I'm certainly, yeah, these are Golden Gate larges, I think. But yeah, I mean, man, finding picks and then getting them to fit, and then also realizing that like your hand it hurts. The picks hurt at first. The thumb picks hurt. My thumb used to get super cold. What are you doing, weirdo? You coming up or not? Come on, make a choice. Come here, everyone. This is Bear. We had to take all of his teeth out, so now we call him Gummy Bear. And he only hangs out with me. He doesn't hang out with my partner at all, which is so gnarly. But yeah, the thumb pick too. I remember, starting out with thumb picks, and my thumb would get cold. The tip of my thumb would get cold. Not anymore. And you can see, again, my hands, they're gonna be like that for a while. They're challenge. I think getting used to the picks is probably the hardest part about playing steel. And I would encourage you to do it. One of the things that's cool is, and I got this tip from Marty Rifkin, who was a mentor of mine. If you're unfamiliar with him, go to martyrifkin.com. It's my favorite website of all time because it's just him. It's just the stuff he's played on, just scrolling across the screen, and it's like, oh, those are some cats. But he used to tell me to just wear the finger picks around the house, and do stuff, type with them, and play piano with them, whatever. Just wear the finger picks, and you'll get used to them, and that was helpful. Trying to play this thing with finger picks, I'm still kind of figuring it out a little bit, but it's well, I don't have any. Oh, I see why. It's the wrong setting. Okay, are you comfortable now? So yeah, but that's the one. What's the live music scene like where I live and perform? So I live just north of San Francisco, in Marin County, towards the end of it, and I think there is a cool music scene here. I am still trying to get established, and so that's tough. And I think it's really tough starting over. I just moved here a year ago. And I'm playing an hour away for free on a week from Tuesday. From like 3 to 5. Like, it's not a good time to be playing, but it is what it is. And I think that part of this is gonna be getting established. I got to have lunch or coffee with some of the more established guitar players in the area in Oakland. A couple weeks ago, and there's some other slide, like Jules Leahy's in Oakland, and he and I have been in touch. So I'm trying to get established here, and I'm happy to play shitty bar gigs. Like, I'm happy to be the guy in the corner with my stuff just jamming, and I'm gonna be doing that on a week from yesterday. So next Saturday I'm playing, and then Tuesday I'm playing, and then that following Sunday I'm playing. Like, I have dates coming, which is great. But it's a lot of breweries and stuff. It's not, it's going to take a second for me to get established to be playing places where people are facing the stage. And that's a challenging place to be, especially considering where I had gotten myself to before, as a touring act. But I took 7 years off, and so we're back, right? But like the last gig I played, it was like I was playing to people facing the stage, and now like we're in this new situation where I have to rebuild everything, and that just is what it is. That's part of it. Sitting around not being entitled, not being feeling like anything, like I've earned anything, because that's not how it works. Either people are coming to see you or they're not. And if people are not coming to see you, then you need to rebuild that audience. Or at least I have to. And so that's what I'm doing. Trying. And we'll see what happens. Stands for there ain't no such thing as a free lunch. Oh, yeah. Practice, practice, practice. Yeah, I mean, you know what's interesting? So Tansta stands for, I don't know what I said, but stands for there ain't no such thing as a free lunch. In other words, practice, practice, practice. Getting better doesn't just happen. I think practice, practice, practice is part of it, but I also, and this has been my mantra. You guys have heard me say this a million times, but just play and have fun. If you're not having fun, you're not going to keep doing it. If you're sitting down and it's just like, then like that's a problem. If you're able to sit down and like work on one new thing a day, then cool. Like there's a lot of days I don't work on anything new. There's a lot of days where I just sit and play. And that didn't happen because I was working on stuff and I finally got to a point where I was like, ooh, I can just sit and play. It's like I've always sat and played. And then I'll learn like a little bit, but like mostly sit and play, and I'll play the same stuff. I'm still playing the same AC/DC riffs over and over again that I played, when I was a kid. Pardon me. Or playing ZZ Top Tush or whatever. Like, when I sit down and learn these songs, when I'm tabbing out some of this stuff for like, Immigrant Song, right? That was the last song I taught was Immigrant Song. Man, it's like that's a simple song. There's only a few parts. The same thing is true of like when I sit down to learn songs. I still just kind of learn like kind of like with my ear. Like I'll sit down in the morning sometimes, especially if I'm not feeling inspired, and I'll just turn on some music and play along, and that gets my ear better. I'm not practicing ear training. It just makes my ear better because I'm sitting down and playing along with stuff. And then when I get given like, again, this session I've been working on for this guy where I have to play stuff, certain stuff note for note. I got to make sure everything is 100% right. It's like my ear is there because I use it for fun. And if you're not there yet, then, do the exercises we're doing on Patreon. We're doing like a ear training thing most days. And it's like, that's going to dial your ear in. And then you're going to hear something and you're going to be able to start figuring it out. And it just gets better and better. So that started with... That was the ain't no such thing as a free lunch. Yeah, time in the water, right? Practice is part of it. Playing is part of it. It's supposed to be fun. We're playing music. David Treharn is here. Man, David, welcome. David bought a neck from me, and I gave him a shout out either in a video or a live. But like, he's got some stuff going on with the Derek Trucks thing, which I still don't get. Like, I don't get it the right. There's this thing. And I was hanging with Jules Leahy, and he showed me he's going above the note slightly. But it's like this. It's not necessarily the tone or anything else. There's this like this little. He kind of goes. I don't know. See, this is the practice thing. But yeah, it's, and here's something, because we were talking about the round bars. I don't like the round bar for this, but I have these stone bars that I think translate to the trucks thing where my hand can move really fast. I can move those lighter bars a lot faster than I can move my metal bar. But David's doing it, just perfect with the metal bar, and so whatever. Awesome. I'm glad you're here, bro. Yeah, which is amazing. Dakota, your beginning video 1 shows how you use your fingers to the left of the bar to mute the upper 3 strings. This puts the back of the bar in my palm instead of the crook of my finger. How does the bar sit? Okay, it's a good question because I don't really know. All right, so I'm using a Beard 2010 stainless, which makes me happy. It sits kind of like right under my finger, and then the fatty part of my palm, this part of my palm actually rests against the back of the bar. And then if you see, here's my fingers here. So when I lay my hand across the strings, like in this case, I'm not muting all the strings. So when I'm covering up the bottom 3 strings, I'm not muting the top string. My fingers don't fit there. But I also I'm not going to strum all the way to the top string there. I'm going to stop. Or I can get my middle finger on there, I guess. Yeah, I guess I do. Yeah, but it's sitting. So this is my hand. Let me see if I can show you. Like it's still not quite on my palm, but it's definitely like I have it right to the very. I have this edge of the bar right to the very back of my finger there, if that makes sense. So it's like that, and then my finger can still move, but I really like having that bar kind of cradled in my. Yeah, and then yeah. But sometimes I'm not covering up. Like it depends. If I'm, so you can't really see this. Let's see. Basically, here I'm covering up all. I'm getting the high E, high D with the tip of my finger. But if I just move back that much, I'm not getting the high E. Like it's so close. So again, it also is going to depend on how you're playing, and are you gonna? Do you really need to mute all three of the top strings while you're playing that one note? It maybe depends, but yeah, if that makes sense. Right? Does that make sense? I hope it makes sense. Yeah. Okay, yeah, cool. Nick, you're still making your first lap steel. Totally screwing it up. Yeah, well, that's the point of making. I mean, I still screw up the ones I'm making now, and then I got to fix them. One thing that's interesting too, making one. There's a podcast called The Truth About Vintage Amps, which I love. It kind of has gotten a little bit too far in the weeds for me in some episodes recently, but the very early ones I really enjoyed. And it's basically this guy, this old curmudgeonly amp tech who's awesome answering questions, right? And one of the things he talks about is making one is doable, but then trying to do them at scale is like a whole other process. And man, each one of these has a little mistake. My early ones, each one of them has something I had to fight through, and I was able to fix them or whatever, just leave them beat up. But trying to make them for sale has become its whole other thing. And that red one, that red and black one that I was playing at the beginning, which I really love that guitar. I'm gonna leave it for now. It doesn't matter. But there's like a weird little sanding mark around the two P90 cavities, and so it's heavily discounted, right? I think it's listed at like $2,200 on Reverb, and I can do it for $1,900 shipped. $1,900 shipped. It's like, where do those weird sanding swirls come from? Well, okay, I figured it out today. When I did it to another one, and then fortunately it wasn't finished yet, and I was able to fix it. But like, it's like, man, that's a bummer, and I keep finding new mistakes to make. And so doing them at scale is its own thing. Like each one, like a prototype is awesome, but then dialing in the process is like a whole other thing. And then for me, I was doing some necks because I'm doing these conversion necks, and I was trying to do them in a more assembly line process. So I went and I just slotted 12 fingerboards, and it's like, I hate doing it that way. I absolutely hate it. It makes more sense. It's more time efficient and all that stuff, but I hate doing it that way. So I'm building these 3 guitars. I have a new body shape. It's very exciting. And I decided to just do them one at a time because I hate having to do the same process over and over again like an assembly line. It's not fun. I like watching the guitar start to take shape, start to become this thing, and like, yeah, I'm looking at this one. This one came out pretty good. I know where the problem is. The problem is where I did the this thing. I try to do this like cool plate that matches the body, and it just didn't come out quite the way I wanted it to. I thought I could do it with just a chisel and keep it super clean, but I couldn't. And it's kind of chewed up and crappy looking, and like, I don't know. It's a bummer. It's a bummer. I also put this Lawler single coil in it to try to replace the Righteous Sound humbucking single coil, and it's too thin in this position. You can see how far back it is close to the bridge, so it's more of like a middle position strap pickup than a neck position, which is what I was hoping for. So I'm going back to the humbucker at some point, but it is what it is. I mean, these are the things where having 24 frets, I could have pushed the pickup position all the way to here, and that maybe would have helped a little bit, but not a ton, and I wouldn't have had my cool little scoop that goes on the end of the fingerboard that I think looks really nice. And so it is what it is. But I don't love this. This position needs to be a little thicker. Right? That's a little thin. Especially with that's just fingers without picks. With picks, it's like, ah. So, but it's good because I love these Lawler single coils, and so I'm going to put it in something else. I got a couple more builds in process that are going to end up being Telly style ones with a rail Telly bridge pickup. I do like rails. And then I'll use the Lawler in the neck position of one of those. So that'll be cool. That'll be cool. Where am I playing Saturday? So I'm playing in Novato on Saturday. I have a, if you go, okay, sign in to chat. How do I, oh, come on. Okay, we're not going to do that. If you go to linktree.com/Matt Bradford Music, or you go to mattbradfordmusic.com, either one, then you end up, oh my God, now I have to do this. Okay, fine. I have to sign into the chat. Yeah, verify. What? Okay. I think I can do this if I just sign in on here now. Who knows? Whatever. I was going to drop the link in the chat, and now it's become a whole thing of like me not knowing how to use technology. No. Try another way. Try another way. Can you just send me a text, please? There we go. Oh, confirm the phone number. Okay. So anyway, does that, I don't even know where we are. Come on. Yeah, that's me. All right. So now that we're here, I have all my dates on bands in town, and what the I just signed in. I don't need to recover. I just signed in. I appreciate that companies are trying to keep us from getting hacked, and that they have to have some losses from the hacking situation. I'm sure they do. But, man, this is as annoying as it gets, trying to, like, 441974, okay. Trying to get, like, just signed in takes so much stuff. Why is that not working? And it can be maddening in a situation like this. Like, I used to just have a password, and now that's not enough. Yeah, I'm here. Let me continue. This is me. What are you talking about? Yeah. Okay. Oh my God. Don't do it right now. Just let me type. Can I just type stuff? Now I'm lost because I don't even have the chat anymore. I'm done. Oh my God, let me just sign in, please. See, are you enjoying me just like losing my mind right now? Because now I don't have access to the chat. Just take me to the chat, please. Please. To the chat. Why can't I go to the chat? I don't understand. I'm like on the internet now. Okay, let's try this. Let's close the chat and docs menu on the menu bar. Okay, docs menu. YouTube chat. There we go. Okay. Everybody's there. You guys, it's not signed in. That's the craziest thing. So now, once again, I am not signed in. So whatever. I'm sorry. If you're looking for my dates, they are on mattbradfordmusic.com. They are on Bands in Town /Matt Bradford Music. bandsintown.com /Matt Bradford Music, and they're on, if you go to linktree.com /Matt Bradford Music, then that takes you to all my stuff, the stuff on Spotify and YouTube, and I mean, we're on YouTube now, but it takes you to all the stuff, right? Yeah. So anyway, whatever. That was me like losing my mind here. Still making my first screwing up. Where am I playing Saturday? Cool. Yeah. I think your mantra is find your voice. I hope that is my mantra. I love that you love that. I think that I struggle right now. How do I get more followers? Which is so gross to even say. Can I tell you right now, by the way, I was with a famous musician and we were talking, and he referred to me as an influencer. And it broke my heart. And that's probably what I am. That's probably the space that I occupy the most. But like, that is not what it just feels like those people who I am one. I'm trying to get more followers. I'm trying to make this more of a full-time thing. And I think I have something to offer. You know what I mean? But I'm still trying to exist in a place where I get people to give me money. And that's challenging. You know, it's like, here we are, let's try to get super chats. Here we are, let's try to get Patreon followers. Here we are. And so I have been doing more tabs and stuff, and I don't think that is necessarily against my mantra, but it is certainly not. Okay, there we go. We're back. Did I move myself? Whatever. What about that? That's probably better. Okay. Stop it. Okay. Yeah, like the tabs, like all this stuff. Like, yeah, how do I find what's true to me? I think is man, it's the most important thing, and I still find it like what should my sound be? You know, I feel I can get self-conscious about some of the stuff I'm doing. I can get self-conscious about the sounds I'm getting here. I can get self-conscious about some of the, you know, this is the stuff I'm taking live now. Right? It's a version of Let It Bleed that I do. And it's like, if it's too electronic or too synthy or too, I start to go like, ooh, no. And it's like, I got to lean into what feels good to me and not worry about what it's supposed to be, and all that stuff. And so hopefully I can remind you to do that too, because that's what I'm doing. And it's a challenge. It's always a challenge. What should I be doing versus like, what's fun? What feels good? What feels right? You know, let me turn the gain all the way up and freak out. Let me do the stuff that I want to do, as opposed to what people want, frankly. But there's a trade-off there, because I do need to get people to give me money so I can keep doing this. And so I have to serve something of like what people want. That being said, you know, doing the tablature stuff has really gotten me more dialed in on a couple of things, which has been really cool. And then again, doing it handwritten, doing it in a way that makes sense, because one of the big barriers for me was the technology. One of the big barriers for me with tabbing was going to just be like, how am I going to how am I going to learn a new program? Like, I don't want to do that. And the reality is I don't have to. You know what I mean? I can just not learn a new program. Cool. So, yeah. I love that. That's my mantra, though. That makes me happy. The trucks thing is a mix of playing a lighter slide with your David. David's dropping knowledge right now. We should get David on at some point. The trucks thing is a mix of a lighter slide and right-hand finger muting. Where do you get the light tone bar? I'm trying to find a lighter bar. Was using a mudslide ceramic. Oh, dude. So I have a couple from... No. That was a brass one that you heard fall. I have a couple from Rocky Mountain Slide Company. These are stone. And I like them both. The purple one is really cool looking. Doesn't really work in this light. Let's see. Whatever. It's purple and sparkly. Let's see. You can kind of... Oh, there we go. You can kind of see the color there. It's purple and sparkly, which is great. But it's a little bit too long. So this is the two slides. And you can see the difference. It's not huge, but this one is a little bit shorter. And so... And it has, you know, similar to, we were talking about the Shub SP2 a little second ago. It has a rounded end. I don't use that end. I use this squared off end. And yeah, it's a... Right? Yeah. The other thing about the trucks thing, David, is it's almost all major pentatonic, which is just not something I use a lot. Nope. Anyway, these are from Rocky Mountain Slide Company, and they're great. And if you go get one, then tell Doc I sent you. Any of these people, right? Because the guys who send me stuff, I don't think I paid for the bars either. I gotta be honest with you. I don't think so. I've bought in bars from him before because I have some other ones. I have some ceramic ones from him too, actually. Ugh. And I don't know what the sound quality is on a stream versus whatever. That has a more hollow sound. You can hear I can hear the difference. I don't know if you can hear it on the stream. So that's the ceramic one. And then this is the stone one. Right? And that's a very clean... It's a really hard sound to play slide with. Hold on. There we go. We're back to better. This is a much better. Right, there's that, and then... So that's the ceramic. And that's the stone. And I personally prefer the stone. They're both great. They're similar sizes. And the ceramic is, yeah, they're similar sizes. They're both great. So anyway, tell Doc I sent you. Boop ba doop ba doo. It's not a bummer, it's a feature. I wonder what my feature was. I'm so far past that. Oh, okay. So Miles Wiggins, returning the bar to the strings after a pull off. Finger or bar hits the strings first. I get too much noise. Well, definitely the bar should hit first. But it's definitely simultaneous, and it's possible the noise you're getting is from one of two things. Either you're hitting other strings with the bar. Right? Like I can't be hitting the other strings. And then also, I'm just using the weight of my hand. So I'm not hitting. I'm kind of dropping. But, yeah, it's all kind of coming down together. Right? It's all coming down together. Right? And the more gain you can use there, if you can get it clean with a ton of gain, you'll get it clean. Not in tune at all. Okay. All right. I'm gonna play with this ceramic bar. Anyway, yeah. So does that make sense? Basically, whatever I'm using. You know, the other thing about the ceramic bar is it's rounded off a little bit too much at the edge. The stone one's pretty rounded off too. It's interesting. Now I'm thinking about a conversation we had a second ago about, was it Dakota was talking about the bar, I think, where so this one is too long, and so now to get the bar where I want it, it actually is into my palm a little bit. And what that does is it kind of screws up my technique. Right? Yeah, or what I end up doing is I end up putting it in the space where I feel comfortable with it, and it just doesn't feel as good. So what I could do is send this back to Doc and have him kind of grind it. One thing that would be cool on these bars, and I should talk to him because he could probably do it, is to get a little bit of an angle on one edge, because I like having this 20. So the Beard 2010 is my main bar. And, wow, this is so nerdy. Let me know if this is too much. Beard 2010 is my main bar. And it has a 10 degree on one side and a 20 degree on the other side, which I really like, because if my hand starts to hurt, I can turn it around. But I don't like really having the 20 degree out. I like having the 20 degree against my palm, and it really is a really comfortable round off there that makes me happy. And then having that 10 degree angle up front, which is kind of right below the tip of my first finger, which means I kind of have this thing where, like, wherever the tip is, I know exactly. I just have a sense of control with that. I'm just used to it. I mean, really, because people can play with a lot of people play with a lot more tapered bars than this, and I guess that has the same vibe. I'm telling you, turning it around is it just changes my hand position so much. Where's my? No, that's another 2010. Okay. Well, somewhere I have a shearhorn bar. Shearhorn? Something like that. And that's a cool bar too, but the profile is totally different. I'm so used to the Beard bar now, and I know that there's some other bars out there that do various things. And yeah, the features. I like that. I'm going to come back to that in a second too. I am Bradford, because it is a feature. Yeah, I think altering the bar, getting a bar that fits in my hand properly is huge. And so, like, a bar like this that is slightly too long for me screws up everything. And even a bar like this that I'm super used to, when it has a 10 degree angle on this side, if I turn it to the 20 degree angle, it just puts me in such a bad spot. And then for some reason, if I'm sitting around playing with it for a while, I'll be okay. Like, again, live, which I haven't been doing a ton, I'm playing with an SP3 or I'm playing with a lapdog, and both of those I feel totally comfortable. And those were my main bars everywhere for a while until I did the which tone bar should you choose video. And I was like, oh, these beard bars sound better. And then it was like I had to get on a wait list for this. And it got shipped to the wrong house at one point, apartment. And then I finally got a hold of it, and it was a whole thing. Whatever. Hey, Hillbilly Metalhead, welcome. That's a great. I can just picture you, by the way, just playing metal in overalls. One of the things about handmade stuff, right, is that it's not perfect. With the ever more, when I started working in guitar building and repair, a CNC was not accessible for most people. Hello, Billy from Scotland. That's so awesome. I'm glad you're typing because I wouldn't be able to understand what you're saying. That was a joke about accents. Oh yeah, cool, man. Welcome from Abysmal Plans. We did some stuff. Did we do some stuff? Maybe we did some stuff. Did I play on something? I think I did. I don't know. Okay. So laser cutters and CNCs and all of these things are way more accessible than they used to be. And so there are people doing awesome stuff with that. If you haven't never seen the stuff from like Shock the Fox, it's incredible. And the laser cutter stuff that you can do, and so some of these guys are taking what you can do with the CNC to a whole new level. Hi, Bubba. I see you. You want to play fetch? Is that what's happening? And so I love that. But the trade-off is that we don't have the same. We don't have. So my orange cat plays fetch, by the way, which is one of the coolest things. But we might have started a game. So the flip side of that is that it's hard to tell when people say stuff is handmade. It's hard to tell what it actually is anymore. One of the things that I'm really a fan of is whether it was that the red one. Hold on. Now watch this. Now I gotta get up. Well, okay. So this is my main guitar, and it's like, look, this is a totally reclaimed piece of wood from a barn in Minnesota. That was like freezing and then whatever, and like there's holes in it, and there was cracks that I had to fill with epoxy, and it sounds phenomenal. But like, I don't know if you can see, like right here, there's a hole, like all the way through the wood, right? Oh, there we go. Now you can see it, right? So finding reclaimed stuff, finding stuff that's really authentic. You should have to put authentic in quotation marks. The red and black one again, right? There's a knot right here that makes it undesirable for a lot of people. But again, like I thought it looked really cool, and I wanted to get like a really aggressive looking feature here. And again, the finish is, I shot red. Well, I shot clear, and then I shot red, and then I shot more clear, and then I shot black, and then I sanded it back, and so I had some red showing through a lot of places, and then I cleared it again. You know what I mean? And so you end up with this like really kind of cool worn thing, and you can see the grain in the wood and stuff. This is, for me, fighting against, not fighting, it's the wrong word, it's not a struggle, but playing against the perfection in the CNC thing, finding imperfect wood that sounds great, finding and then making things that have hopefully a ton of character. And this goes back to the playing too. Hold on. And then I have a couple boards. I'm doing a few more out of these boards, which have, again, all these holes, which are hard to see on here, but like you can see all these holes. There were beetles in the wood, and I really kept the holes and kept everything so you can see it as much as possible, to try to be true to the wood. I have a couple of those, and then I have a couple of nicer boards that have a little bit cooler grain. But like those are the things that like they are features. The imperfections are features, especially if I can lean into them. But there's certain things that's just like that's not good woodworking, and that's where I have to draw the line and go, okay, well that red and black one, I didn't notice that until after I had it completely finished, so we're gonna discount it, right? And again, if you've been looking at the stuff online on Reverb, like the red and black one is listed at 2,200 shipped. I can do it for 19. This one's listed at 2,700 shipped. I can do it for like 22, 23. I don't know. I have to look at what it cost me. But, you know, again, like it's like the Reverb with the fees and the blah, blah, and I'm trying to calculate for shipping it overseas, which is just so expensive right now. The tariff stuff is, I'm not here to get political, but like, if you want to know how I feel about politics, feel free to follow me on Threads. I'm not shy there. And if you don't want to know how I feel, then don't follow me there, and then you won't know. Maybe you'll know on Instagram too, a little bit. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Wait. Okay. So, right. We were supposed to hillbilly metal, but not yet. Hopefully in the future. Got it. Cool. Okay. Good. I'm glad I play on enough stuff and I do enough stuff musically that like I forget. And it's not personal. It's just like I get, my poor, I'm trying to remember too much stuff as it is. And so, yeah. Yeah, good old mistakes in lap steel builds. But yeah, leaning into the human aspects of it and the natural aspects of it and not trying to have a perfect instrument. And then also, and I've said this before, I've bought guitars from people before and it's labeled mint on Reverb and I open it up and it's mint. And I got to tell you, I scratch these guitars when I'm testing them. So I don't want to make something that is perfect because I gotta have to fix it as soon as I test it. I don't care. And David bought a neck for me, so I think I think he seems happy with it. I think it came out really good. But it's a handmade item, and so like it is not going to be machine made. And I think sometimes we, especially as guitar players, not as guitar players, there is a certain element, and hopefully I have convinced them not to shop with me. There is a certain element in the guitar buying community that is way more focused on things that I don't find particularly important and less focused on things that I do. To me, tone and playability are paramount. And looks are paramount too, but the things that I find attractive are not the perfect guitars. They're not the super fancy looking woods, I do like a good flame maple as much as the next guy, but not on a top. I don't want a flame maple top on a guitar. I like a plain top. I like a plain back and sides. I enjoy the flaming maple necks. I really do. I didn't intend to build some of these flamey. Is this one flamey? It's a little flamey. Yeah, I didn't. I mean, I just had. This is the wood that was here. It came out really cool. So whatever. It is what it is. David has a couple of lap steels made from wood from Captain Morgan's estate in the UK after a tree blew down. That is freaking cool. That's the stuff I love. This wood came from the fires, after the fires kind of ravaged Oregon. There were all these places that burned down or were partially destroyed, had to be rebuilt. And so this is all salvaged from that stuff. I love things that have character and that I don't know. It doesn't matter. Whatever. I'm on my high horse. I'm going to get off my high horse. I'm going to tell you this. At the end of the day, if the instrument you have inspires you, then awesome. And if it doesn't, then hopefully you can find the budget or the wherewithal or whatever it is that's keeping you from getting an instrument that inspires you. That's, at the end of the day, that's all that matters. Does it make me go, hell yeah? If it doesn't, then it's not the right instrument. And so if you're looking for pretty and perfect, then that's what you should be getting. And if you're looking for beat up and beat down, then that's what you should get. And anybody else's opinion, including mine, especially mine, should not matter. You know, I have opinions for the things that I like. That's it. And I have frustrations with a certain guitar buying collective because of places I've worked or because of things. You know, I used to, I'll tell you a story. I was working at this guitar shop in LA, and I won't tell you which name because I don't like them. But it doesn't matter. I was working at this shop, and this guy came in, and he walks right up to the repair shop. Repair shop was out in the open, and Dakota, thanks for hanging, brother. I appreciate you. This guy comes in, and it's buzzing. Do you hear that? It's buzzing. There was no hey, there was no how are, there was no nothing, right? And I was like, well, okay, is that how you play? Because it's gonna like no matter what how high the action is, like it's gonna buzz if you play like that. Right? Like that's just how it is. And I have to put this down or I'm gonna noodle all day. I had another guy, same thing. Another guy came in and he goes, my friend took a video to show you what's wrong, and he was bending up here, and the string was choking out. I had done a fret dress or something. Frets. I had done something with the frets. And so I picked it up and played it, and it was fine. Right? When his friend was playing it, was... I can't... Let's see, how do I fake it? It was like... You know how guitars can do that sometimes? And so I was like, well, look. I'm not having a problem. I can raise the action if you'd like. And the guy was like, well, no, let me put you on the phone with my friend, because he's here to tell you what's wrong with it. And his friend... I'm like, definitely don't want to do that. Anyway, his friend starts, it's choking out, it's choking out. I'm like, well, it's not choking out when I do it. Is it possible it's a technique issue? Phrasing. No, there's no way. I had done it wrong. And so I do struggle with that part of the community. I struggle with this thing where it's like, people who maybe aren't as good of a player for whatever reason. That's not to put myself on a pedestal or anything else, but I have a certain level of technical ability, and to have somebody going, something's wrong, it's like, whew. And then the flip side of that is, I want, and I have these great customers, but I want it to be 100% right. I don't want to be the luthier guy with the ego who's like, yo, it's right, and if you have a problem, it's you. It's like, no, that's not the way it works. I want it to be right for you. I want you to pick it up and be stoked, and if that's not what's happening, then I want to make it right. But I can only work within the constraints of what's physically possible. You know what I mean? And so that's a balancing act, right? Like, I want to make sure I take responsibility if it's not right. At the same time, I can't live up to expectations that are physically impossible. And there are certain, I have a guy, I just put together a telly for him a couple months ago. Anyway, I'm not going to share his name. I'm sure he wouldn't mind, but whatever. Anyway, we had a guitar for him one time where the neck was so squirrely where we couldn't get it to stay in tune, because if he just looked at it funny, the neck was like a piece of like balsa wood, and it was an old K or something. And this guy just trusts me. And I said to him, look, we can fix this. I can take the fingerboard off. I can put graphite rods in the neck. Then I can put the fingerboard back on. I'm going to have to... So that's going to be 2 graphite rods. I got to take it off. I got to take it to my machine guy. He's going to machine it. And then I'm going to bring it back. I'm going to inlay those those graphite rods. I'm going to put the fingerboard back on. Then I'm going to have to retrue the fingerboard and refret it. It's not worth what we got to do. It's going to cost this amount. And he was like, let's do it. And I was like, oh, I don't want to do this. But I was like, okay, let's do it. And, that was his main guitar until I put together, come on, yes or no? You're being weird. that was his main guitar until I put this telly together recently for him. And again, he was a client in LA, and then he came up here to have me do that. And it's like, that's freaking cool. Don't run away. Let me love you. That sounded creepy. So what, now you're staying? Okay. The flip side, yeah, so anyway, whatever. I have clients I love. I've had I just put together another lap steel telly for a guy, and it was working when he left, and now only 2 positions on the switch work. God. He wanted like this custom wiring, and I thought I had it, and it was working when he left, and now it's not, and it's like, man, I sent him some Deoxit, right, because he didn't have any, and I thought that might fix it. It's not an easy drive for him to get here, but when he comes, I'm gonna make it right. That's what it is, right? Whatever happened, something happened between the time I worked on it and now that it was working and now it's not, and I'll tell you that's my fault. Whether it's the part failed or whatever, that's on me, and I'm not gonna charge him labor if a part failed or something, if that makes sense. Okay. All right. John from New Zealand. John, what's up, dude? I tried to time this in a way so that my people in New Zealand and Australia could make it at some point. I know it's early. Yeah, I kept finding new ways to make mistakes hilarious and true, and the opportunity to be extra creative. You know, one of the things too, and this is whenever you see like a really fancy inlay guitar, like a I'm not sure, not whenever necessarily, but like when you see, like, this is one of my favorite tellies, right? And this is it's a white stain, which I tried to do. It's just there's too much end grain. It doesn't come out great. It's not professional enough where I can do it for a client because there's just too many imperfections. But for me, I love it. The end grain stuff just doesn't look quite right. There's like swirls and scratch marks and things that it's just not, yeah. But I love the finish. But this is just a stain and then a Minwax polyurethane. This is a Warmoth body and neck that I put together when I was living in a 1-bedroom apartment. And, very understanding partner. I love it. When you see the guitars that have like a big inlay right here, I would say 9 out of 10 times that's because somebody dropped a tool on it or something and it got damaged and it had to get fixed. Which doesn't change the amount of work that had to go into doing that inlay and making it cool or whatever. But when you see some of the fancier stuff, like, oh, there's like a big inlay all on the edge of the fretboard here, I'll bet you they had a piece of wood and it got damaged, but they had done enough work where it was more worth it to do the inlay than it was to do whatever. But those creative guitars can be have had some serious amounts of work, which is really funny. We got some ironwood from an old heavy haul trailer deck. This stuff is incredibly heavy and dense. Any idea how it would work as the base for a lap steel build? Okay, so I would think I like lighter weight. Okay, there's a couple. Okay, so everything's a spectrum. Wood wise, we're not getting into the other stuff. We can get into that if you, again, follow me on Threads. You can hear all what I feel about all that stuff, but or don't if you don't want to hear, because but I don't know why I'm holding this. Okay, this is roasted alder, sort of like a mid-weight instrument. Okay, how am I going to explain this? All right, basically, the lighter the guitar, the more air around the note. These are solid body instruments. The heavier the instrument, the less air around the note. It's a little more focused. Those are not good or bad. It really depends on what I'm doing. I did a video at some point when I've since sold it, but I had a black and white lap steel that had a Firebird pickup, and then it had Firebird pickups. Firebird? No, P90s? I don't know. Whatever it had. It had a Firebird and a P90 at the time that I did the video. Okay. Welcome to me talking. So anyway, whatever. I had this really lightweight. It was made out of cedar. I had made it out of cedar. And it had, in a trio setting where it was just me and like drums and bass, it was incredible. But you put it in a denser mix and it didn't cut through because there was so much air around the note. It was just really, it would get lost in a denser mix. In a sparse mix, it took up a lot of space and was lovely. In a dense mix, it wasn't really happening, and I didn't like it. Conversely, this was the other lap steel I had at the time, and it doesn't have as much air around the note. But, and this is made of, this is an ash center wing, and then mahogany. It's an ash center piece and then mahogany outside pieces. And so it cuts through a denser mix a little bit more. In a trio setting, it's a little thin sometimes. But in a bigger mix, it cuts through better. So how would the Tasmanian, or how would there's a Tasmanian Blackwood, the Ironwood. I think Ironwood, a full Ironwood guitar would be pretty pingy sounding to me, my guess. That being said, using a piece of Ironwood as a center stringer, so doing like an inch thick piece of Ironwood down the middle of the body, neck, whatever, I do a neck through, so again, this is one piece here, and then you can see the wings. I think you can see the 3 different pieces, right? But if you did a centerpiece that was Ironwood and then did like ash on the sides of it, it would be something that would be incredibly stiff, and it would add some punch and some oomph to the sound. And then also you wouldn't have to deal with the overall heaviness of it. I tend to prefer a lighter weight instrument because I can hear my other cat out there just so upset that somebody would close a door. I prefer lighter weight instruments because I think they're more resonant. I don't know where this idea of like the heavier the instrument, the more sustain it gets comes from, because to me, a lighter weight material allows it to resonate more. Heavier gives it a little more bite and cut, and it tightens it up a little bit. So it's always a balancing act. And something really, really heavy. I have a guitar from a guy that was built. I think the body weighs 13 pounds. He was here earlier, and I put a neck on it for him, and it's cool because the neck pocket was actually thicker, was deeper than my traditional neck, so I had to make him a custom neck, which cost more, which was a bummer for him. But we got to do this thing, and it's like that guitar is very focused sounding. That's not good or bad. It's just it has a thing, and so heavier wood to me is less resonant at times. What's up? You want me to let the other cat in? Hold on. Let me let the other cat in. Hold on one second. Get ready. Come in. Or not. Whatever. Make your choice. Okay. All right. We've switched cats. And I can't hear anything because my headphones are unpicked. But yeah, I think ironwood through the center and some swamp ash wings would be amazing. Or even, again, like making it. Talk about A Tale of Two Cats. A 1-inch thick down the middle is going to really reinforce everything, and then like a 1-inch ash on either side to like make it. Like if you're making it like I do. But yeah, I wouldn't do too much ironwood. I would make sure that the bridge and the nut are both touching not only ironwood, if that makes sense, right? So when I'm looking at an instrument, I want to make sure that this is touching all the pieces of wood and that this is touching whatever's going on the neck. So this is a 2-piece body, so this is touching both sides. Oh, this is a 3-piece body, but this is still anchored. The anchors are touching both the mahogany and the ash, and the pickup covers are touching both the mahogany and the ash. Does that make sense? There's no glue barriers between what's happening. Now, is that important or not? I mean, who knows, right? Like it's part of the whole to me, and I think I've seen a lot of stuff online recently about like tone woods don't matter and blah blah and this and that, and I've been around enough stuff. I don't agree with that, but That's what it is. Yeah. Let's see. The vid I did on which pickups are best, you featured an early build from some Bill Asher. Yeah, so that's actually that's a build that I did when I worked with Bill Asher. So I worked for Bill again 20 something years ago. But at the time, that was my first lap steel. Talk about awesome. So here's what happened. I'll tell you real quick. We went to see Ben Harper at the Santa Barbara Bowl, and we had backstage passes, and I got us kicked out of backstage because Bill wanted a beer, and we had all access passes, but apparently that didn't mean we could go anywhere. I was a pain in the ass. So anyway, whatever. I got us kicked out of backstage, but I had never seen anybody play like pretty heavily distorted lap steel before, and Ben was doing it, and I was like, that's cool. So we got back to the shop, and I said to Bill, I want to buy a lap steel. I want to buy a at the time, the juniors that he was making were made in the USA and were a single pickup in like just two pieces of mahogany, and then just a quick satin lacquer out of a spray can, right? So I was like, I want to buy one of those, and he was like, no. I was like, no, I'll pay full price. I want a lap steel, and he was like, well, let me sell you this old Oahu. And I was like, well, let's test them. So we had a junior, and we tested the Oahu against the junior, and I want to do a video on vintage lap steels versus modern, because they are very different animals, and the modern thing is what I was looking for, right? And anyway, I got to see what's happening here. I got caught off guard. So anyway, whatever. We compared them, and Bill was like, well, I usually don't let people build a guitar for themselves until they've worked for me for a year, but I have this piece of Australian red cedar, which is what that guitar is, and it was too thin for his builds. So it's only like, it was, for whatever reason, I think he was planning on putting a top on it, but it got machined too thin or whatever, and it was just sitting around, and it was like, awesome, I'll take that. And so I built that lap steel when I worked for Bill, and I still have it. It's still, the body's somewhere, but the neck is too thick for me. I don't like the way that it's flat across the body. There's a reason I build my guitars the way I do. And I love Bill, and I love the guitars he makes, and he's an important part of my life. And there's nothing wrong with it. It's just not the thing that I'm looking for. But it's a great guitar, man, and that finish is literally just spray can lacquer. It's just, you can buy it anywhere, right? It's spray can satin nitro. And it's awesome. So it sounds great, and it does all the thing. Are the scale lengths the same on the Tele style and the Apocalypse machine? Yes, sort of. The answer is sometimes. So my new ones. So okay. When I built the first five. The first five were either a 25-inch. No, that's not right. Okay. There's some different scale lengths. They range between 25 and 26 inches, and then I have a couple of baritones, which are 27 inches. Enzo, come here. Come here. Why are you beeping? I know. You're very cute. Okay. All right. This guy's nuts. We traded the calm one for the crazy one. He hates this. Okay. Ow. So. Okay. Let me let him out We're going to finish up because I got to go do yoga. I'm doing yoga. Who'd have thought that? Come here. Get out. Okay, where were we? Okay, right. Scale lengths. So, I had a place that I could order custom scale, whatever scale length I wanted. And I assume they were using a CNC to slot the necks. So my original ones were 25 inches. Those were from Stu Mack. And then I used to be able to go through Luthier's Mercantile, which is since closed, and I got 26-inch scale fingerboards. And so that yellow one, my other yellow one that's sold now, a bunch of the ones I sold were 26 inches, which is probably my favorite scale length, but I can't find a template for it now, so I'm running 25 and a half, which is not that different. 25, 25 and a half, 26. If you give me an instrument that has any of those scale lengths, I can play it. My Dobros are 25, my National's 25. So, like all the different scale lengths are fine. I like them a little bit longer because they have a little bit more zing. Again, my mentor Marty Rifkin has like a 1953 Fender Stringmaster, dual 8, and that's a 26-inch scale, and I love that scale. But 25 is super standard for Dobro stuff, and I'm doing 25 and a half now, which is, I think if you gave me a 25 and a half and a 26, I'd play both of these, right? They're all in the shot? Okay. The 26-inch, the 25 and a half inch, I don't have to think about it. The 25 inches, they're all fine. So right now, everything I'm building is either 25 and a half, or if I'm doing a baritone, I'm doing a baritone in the new shape right now for me, unless somebody wants it, in which case I'm happy to sell it. I'm trying to make a living. Then that's, and that's 27. So it's either 25 and a half right now standard or 27. 22 and a half is sort of the more standard lap steel, like especially vintage lap steel scale length, and I struggle with the shorter scale length personally. I have a hard time with it. In the Which Lap Steel Should You Buy video, that guitar had a 23 and a half inch scale, and you could hear the string die. I did a whole demo with that. And I have a yellow and green one that's kind of sitting a shell. That's a 24-inch scale, which if somebody wanted it, reach out and we can find I can send you some pictures. We can certainly find a really good price where I have this body sitting around that I just need to get parts for and wire up. So, it's, yeah, man, it's, I'm sorry you don't like it, Ron. I don't like it either, to be honest with you, but, hopefully someday you get something that you are inspired by, whether it's something I built or something that somebody else built. I am going to work on, and I'm going to tell you guys, I'm working on a design slowly that's going to be very minimalist as far as like it's going to end up being a rectangle or something that I can cut out of a piece of, I can get good yield out of a piece of wood, and it's easy to make. I'm going to try to keep it below $1,000, but it's going to be super high quality parts and super high quality wood. And hopefully have some panache, but it's going to be flat on the bottom. And then I'm going to make a double neck for myself as well. So that's going to be a 27 and a 25 and a half. So I'm going to have a baritone and a standard for me together on one instrument in case I need to travel or something. For all those fly dates I do. But so I do have something cooking. And yeah. You can't believe you didn't stop and stand halfway out the door. I'm going to tell you this. My cats don't mess around. They know that I don't mess around. You know what I mean? If he stopped halfway through the door, I'd pick him up and throw him up the stairs. And the same thing, like they don't get to bite us. They don't get to swipe at us. Like we don't mess around with that. I love them both very much, and they get treated like royalty, but they also don't get to do whatever they want. And they know that. They are very aware of who is in charge in this house and who is not. YouTube makes it so hard to make posts. I keep getting messages from YouTube that my comments may be offensive to some people. Fuck YouTube. Brad is awesome. Thank you. I assume I'm Brad. But yeah, Uh, I get that on I get those notifications on certain. When people say mean things to me in the comments on various platforms, I'm not nice in my responses, and I don't intend to be. And then you get reported or whatever, and it's like, man, like don't if you can't take it, don't dish it out. You know what I'm saying? Like I know I know that I'm putting myself in a situation where I might get some heat, but like, yeah. I'm not gonna get into it. I can play just about anything, but I'd rather not. Ron, I feel the same way. If you gave me a 22.5-inch scale lap steel and I couldn't do it, that's my fault. But it's like, yeah, I want to play the things I want to play, and so you can get fingerboards and stuff at some point if you get really into it. I hope you get an instrument that really inspires you. And obviously spending a lot of money on an instrument. I will tell you this, and I'm gonna get ready to wrap it up. But I'm gonna tell you. So I was with my buddy. My buddy plays guitar. He plays, he's not a professional. He just plays when he plays, right? But he makes decent money. And let me turn this amp off. He makes decent money. He's a college professor, right? PhD, whatever. Makes decent money. Plays guitar, likes to play a lot. And it was like he was playing through this crappy amp. And it's like, dude, just get a good amp. Like if you're into it, you can buy something that holds its value. So again, not one of my guitars. I don't think they hold my value. Maybe they do. I don't know. I mean, there's none for sale at the moment, except for the ones I have for sale, but they're not selling. So anyway, point is, anyway, we were talking about an amp, and he kept looking at amps and blah blah and this and that, and it's like he finally got a cool amp, right? He finally got an old Vibro Champ, which is $1,000, whatever. It's not cheap by any stretch of the imagination, and he was really worried about spending that amount of money, not because he couldn't afford it, because he could. It was just like, oh no. And he said to me, like, this is one of the best purchases I've made, because it's like now this thing that I spend so much time doing feels better. My headphones were incredibly expensive. These are molded, in-ear headphones, so you can see. I don't know if you can see. Let's see. You can see they're molded for my ears. They're super comfy. I bought them when I lived in an apartment, when I couldn't use my speakers at any sort of volume. And so I wanted something that I could listen to for a long time, that sounded really good, that was also comfortable to wear, that was also not in my way. And they were over $1,000 for a set of headphones, which is insane to me. Except I use them all the time, and it's one of the best purchases I've ever made. There's something about spending money for something that's really good, that hits me deep in my soul. And that's not to be a salesman or anything else. It's just, getting stuff that is going to last forever. Whether it's a guitar or whether it's, especially with all the digital stuff now, which is so disposable. Right, this is going to be obsolete. I mean, it's already a little bit obsolete, and which is a bummer, because I spent a bunch of money on it. But it's going to be obsolete in a few years. These will never be obsolete. Every single one of these is built on tag board, with the exception of the Greer, which I think is point to point. But whatever, all of this it has materials that are easy to replace if something goes bad. Most of the time, if I buy an amp used, so not this one, because I bought that from a buddy, but like the Buddha, and you can't see them, but I have two 67 Bandmasters behind the desk here. When I bought them, I blew them all up. Every one of them blew up, because I don't think anybody ever turned them up. And so I had to rebuild the power supplies. But the point is that, like, this stuff will last forever, and a good guitar will last forever. And so, you know, you don't want to spend that money if you're not sure if you're going to be into it, or if you literally can't afford it. But if it's just like I'm nervous about spending the money or whatever, you know, if you reach out to me, we can always figure something out too, as far as like, what is it you're looking for, so I can make you something or whatever. Or you can, you know, again, Duesenberg or Asher, or, I mean, geez, I just got on the lap steel. There's some lap steel Facebook groups, and people are building stuff that looks amazing. And there's plenty of custom builders out there. So anyway, whatever. I'm running my mouth. Point is this, is that if you're into it and you're having fun, at a certain point, it's an investment in yourself to invest in an instrument that inspires you. And Ron, you know this because you play basses. You have some killer basses. So at some point, if you get into the lap steel thing, you're going to end up with a really cool lap steel. But for those of you who are like, if you're just like really worried about buying something, then yeah, that's, I don't know. I err on the side. Obviously, I'm insane. But I mean, you know, I spent so much money. I mean, the room, you've seen all of my, from this angle and then the other angle from the videos, you've seen all of the acoustic treatment I have in this room. The room sounds great. I have fancy speakers. I got fancy everything. And I'm going to tell you what, I am inspired when I come into this room. That was the idea. I hope that, so that goes back to what's my motto, like, find your own voice. Hopefully part of that is being inspired, being stoked to pick up and play. And if you're not, then like, what is missing? What's the thing that you need to be fired up to pick up the instrument? Okay. On that note, I'm going to go. Man, thanks for hanging. You know, I can't tell you what it means to me that you're here to just listen to me run my yap. Yeah, I appreciate you guys deeply and immensely. Any chance of me doing a gig at the Maui Sugar Mill? I mean, there's a chance. I'm in Northern California, so Maui Sugar Mill's in Tarzana. The reason I know that is I just moved from there. We had talked about me doing something when I was down there, and it just never came together. So at some point, I might come back down to LA and do some stuff. I did some stuff at the Troubadour 2 years ago. And then obviously at crypto.com arena. But I would love to play the Sugar Mill. I would love to just play in LA again. At some point, I would like to do a little bit more traveling. Not a ton. I don't want to go on 6 to 8 week tours anymore. This stuff is just awful. But I would like to, I'd like to play a little bit more and I don't know. You know, right now I'm not even bringing people out to my local gigs. So the trick is just how, you know, at the end of the day, venues don't care how good you are. They just want you to sell beer. And that's totally understandable. So I'm not a great beer salesman at the moment, especially in Tarzana. And yeah, that's that. You guys are awesome. Thank you for hanging. Thanks for doing this. And I'm going to get a video up on Thursday. That'll be a lesson. I haven't figured out what yet, but yeah. And if you like the live chats, you know, make sure you send them to friends and whatever, all that stuff. You're all rad. Thank you guys. Thanks for everything.